Obviously, it's the starting of the 45th parallel.
This is not just any ordinary stone in someone's backyard. It shows where the border is. The reality of Akwesasne is that 3 different borders run through it.
If you're on this side, you're in Quebec. If you're on this side, you're kind of into Ontario. And if you step back, you're in New York.
Matthew Rourke is the chief of police for the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Police, the police force on the New York side of Akwesasne. He says the community is also known for its richness in culture, arts, crafts, and sports. Smugglers take advantage of the border situation. So some know Akwesasne for the bad headlines.
The exploitation of our waterways by a very small number of people that, like less than, I think probably about 1 to 2% exploit that and bring it over certain, anything from the drugs to the migrants and that sort of thing.
Cases of human smuggling have occurred across the Akwesasne border.
Today, 2 additional bodies have been recovered,
With the death of 2 migrant families, 8 in total, on the Quebec side of Akwesasne in March 2023.
I just don't at times appreciate that Akwesasne is looked at as a black hole. It's not.
Recently, there has been a focus from both the United States and Canadian governments to protect the borders following the launch of a tariff war.
The tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
Months ago, U.S. President Donald Trump said he put tariffs on Canada to pressure the country to take its border security more seriously.
Akwesasne, in our history, that border, it was never supposed to affect us.
But it does.
It's challenging at times. We have our governments on both sides and the federal government from the outside believing that the jurisdiction can come into our community at any point. So it's standing up for our rights for people from Akwesasne to travel freely in and out of our community.
Beverly Cook is the council chief of the St. Regis Mohawk Tribal Council. She says there is concern over Akwesasne maintaining its sovereignty for residents on both the Canada and U.S. side due to lack of communication from the Trump administration.
We think that that's imperative to maintain, a good relationship for our people, not to be worried, because they are worried about how they're going to be treated as they, pass the border frequently every day. And so there's been a lot of concern about how the border is going to, or how the border enforcement is going to impact them.
She says she's ready to have these conversations with the U.S. government.
We are the ones that should be determining citizenship in our own government, and it shouldn't be up to somebody else to impose those restrictions on our peoples.
Until these conversations are had, the St. Regis Mohawk Council and police are working with partners outside of their community to protect the border.
We expect that when other agencies, law enforcement agencies, want to enter the territory, that they're to meet with tribal council, at least notify tribal council. And if they do that through our chief of police, that's fine too, but advance notice is always expected and usually is respected by the outside agencies. So that basically gives us control over who enters the territory. And we, exercise our sovereignty in that way.
Rourke says more funding to the tribal police will help maintain Akwesasne's sovereignty and protect the border.
Times have changed. It's a little different. You have to work with it.
He says the majority of the tribal police's funding comes from the St. Regis Mohawk Tribe's General Fund and from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, as well as grants from other American federal departments.
If we had some more funding opportunities, if this border is going to come out from this new administration, we could buy us more vessels, but also give us an opportunity to hire more police officers so we can have a more persistent and more reliable marine unit out here, because my team's small.
He says there is competition across American tribes to access funding from the Coordinated Tribal Assistance Solicitation, also known as CTAS.
There's so many other nations who are taking their sovereignty very important and want their own police departments, that The number of people applying are getting bigger, but the pot of money is remaining the same. And that's prior to any administration.
APTN News reached out to the U.S. Department of Justice to request how much money is provided through CTAS for tribal police forces, but it did not respond before a deadline.
I know the elders here, when they do see you, they're going to tell you straight up what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong.
Rourke stresses that these challenges are affecting nearby communities as well.
It happens here, but I also got to really stress that it happens in Messina, happens in Alexandra Bay.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Akwesasne, Mohawk Territory.
Ahora deixaram